Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. I wanted to take a break from regular gameplay videos to kind of go a little bit more in depth into what I'm talking about when I describe the practices that the developers of this game are using to extract money from you without providing what I feel to be a fair value in return. Because we all get kind of, enticed by shiny things like paint jobs and things like that on the ship, or, new ships coming out for early access and all of this other stuff. And my issue with it is that I have no problem with the idea that, they offer something as a paid feature of the game, and, we're doing it to support the developers and help them build the game better. And, all of that sounds great in theory, but the problem that I have is that the prices that they want for everything that they're asking for are just astronomically high. And what you get in return is really not anywhere close to the value of the money that you're giving them, especially when the development that they're doing with the money that you give them is just not really going into anything that's actually meaningful. So let's start from what the ideal version of this would be, and then we'll talk about what it really is, okay? The thought process is we have these microtransactions that that are available for us to get, cool stuff in the game. And the idea about that is that in exchange for getting something cool in the game, we give them money, which is supposed to go towards the development of new stuff that is supposed to make the game better and more meaningfully fun to play. And I really love the idea of that. I think it's great. I have participated in this process many times over the course of Elite Dangerous's existence. But the problem that I'm having is that the amount of money that they want for single transactions is exorbitantly high as far as I'm concerned, and the things that we're getting back out of this are just not anywhere close to the amount of money that they're asking for all of the things that they're asking for. And I want to go through a couple of examples of why I think that this is unreasonable by just showing you some examples of what you're actually paying for when you buy some of these things. So for example, you have even just, oops, I didn't mean to click on that. Even just this basic Mandalay, and I accidentally purchased this trying to do something. Even this basic Mandalay Griffin Cyan, however you pronounce it, paint job costs you 6,000 arcs, right? Now that doesn't really sound that much compared to say 16,800 arcs that they want you to pay for like a basic early access or whatever to some things, or like the premium versions of some of these paint jobs that they ask for. But if you pull up the ARC's website, to get 6,000 ARCs, you can't just buy. It's like, this is another part of the whole scam part of all of this, and this is what I want to highlight. They charge things at a rate that is higher than what the lowest tier of what you can purchase. So you want to get that basic paint job. That's a basic tier level paint job. They offer you 5,000 ARCs at what, $4 to get access to a 6,000 ARCs thing. Right? So you can't just buy the basic version to get the paint job. No, you have to go the next level up if you want to get that paint job, which bumps it up. So if you want to get this 6,000 arcs thing, you have to spend, instead of spending $4, you have to spend $7. That's $3 extra to get access to 1,000 arcs extra worth of stuff that you needed to get to this right here. This is standard in the microtransaction industry. That's right. So I'm not saying that this is exclusive to the developer, but they are participating in a predatory process. Okay, so that's what's going on here. And everything in their system is set up this way. The offerings of arcs that they give you are always just low enough that you can't buy the tier that you need to get that specific thing. They want you to overpay for what it is that you want to get access to, and then you're left over with just enough arcs that encourages you, oh, well, let's just buy arcs again, right? Again, this is standard industry practice, but it is a very shitty practice, and they're actively engaging in it, and they're perfectly happy to do that. A fair process would be, we're going to offer this at 5,000 arcs, and then we're going to offer 5,000 arcs, and you can just buy the one thing so that you can get the one thing that you want, spend exactly what you were trying to get, and that's a fair process, okay? And I want to reiterate, I understand that this is the industry practice, but it doesn't absolve them of the guilt of participating in this practice. Now, what I really want to talk about, though, is a lot of the things that they give you access to that are actually, things that you would really want to have are up here in the 16,800 or more price for, say, some of this premium stuff. And the issue that I have with that is that to get 16,800 arcs, you have to purchase this level right here, which actually does finally get to the point where it outstrips the base price of things, and it does leave you with a little bit left over. That's fine, but the problem I have with that is that they want $13 for it, for a paint job on a fictitious ship that you don't actually own. $13. Now, why is that a problem for me? Well, the reason why that's a problem for me is that if you come over here to Steam and you scroll through some of these games that are over here on the, just even at the top here, you can find at least 2 games that even their base price are less than $10. Whole games that you're able to get that you can acquire and provide you with many hours of fun and excitement for less than the price that they're asking you for a paint job on a fictitious spaceship. Okay, on some of these deals that they have, you can get like 2 or 3 different paid games that are like professionally developed things that you can play. I could get several games for the price that they're asking for one paint job. That's just a paint job. Where I further continue to have issues in all of this is just the fact that everything in all of the cosmetics in here tend to cost about that much. Like, there's a few exceptions like that, right? But especially when you start getting into, say, ship kits, look how much they want for the ship kits for these ships. For one ship in the game, you're expected to pay the price that you could get a reasonable indie or, mid-tier game on Steam. They want you to pay game level prices for cosmetic additions to your ship. Now, they're free to do that. I would never say that they're just not there, that they should not be allowed to charge that, because I do believe in free market trading and that people should be able to charge what they want, and that's fine. But my point with this video is not that these things, they should not be allowed to do it. It's to point out to you as the customer that you should be voting with your wallet in a way that makes sense and is advantageous to you. And to continue supporting companies that do microtransactions in this way, where they're offering you something for a paid amount, which is reasonable. It's reasonable to offer things that you should have to pay for so that they can continue to, do server maintenance and work on updates and things like that. But the transaction should really be a lot closer to parity when it comes to what you're actually getting for the money that you're spending. Back in the day, you used to spend $30 to $40 to get access to an entire expansion that actually provided meaningful updates to the game. But now you're doing all of these microtransactions to get early access to ships, which, is a cool feature. I support the idea of it. But expecting us to pay, the same amount of money that we would pay for an entire game or a couple of games for something that is basically just, a very minor addition to the existing content that we have here is what I'm talking about when I say that we're not getting our value of the money that they're wanting us to contribute. Because, yeah, we get a cool ship, but is it really worth $15? Is that really worth $15? Right? We get these new, basically what are all background features, the background, the BGS 2.0 or whatever, PowerPlay 2.0 that they did, colonization. I mean, even this new tactics or operations or whatever feature that they're doing is almost all just background stuff. They're reusing things that they already have, putting a little bit of a polish on it, and then packaging it out again, and we're not really getting anything new. And what I'm talking about, for those of you who have an issue with me complaining about, the money aspect of this, it's not that they're asking for money. Every company needs money. I get that, and I support that, and I will give money to companies who deserve it. My issue is that they're taking our money, but they're not giving us anything that's worth the money that they're getting in return. And that's my issue. Charging, full retail game price. I know when I say retail, I'm not talking about AAA games that have, that are way overpriced for what they are anyways. If you're spending $60 on a video game, in my opinion, you're just throwing away money. That's a lot of money to spend on one game just because the developers wanted to try to impress people with their flashy graphics. I'd say there's plenty of very cheap games out there that are making a lot of money by charging reasonable prices for them. If you want to chase clout by spending $60 on a video game, okay, that's fine. Go do that. But I played games like Schedule 1 that was very cheap to purchase, provided me with many hours of entertainment, and that is a very successful property because they're prioritizing fun and affordable gameplay as the thing that they're doing. And this is my problem with games like this. I'm fine with you asking for money. I'm fine with you expecting us to contribute to the pot, and I'm perfectly willing to do so. But what I get in return for that contribution should be worth the money I'm spending, and we're just not getting it. We're just not getting it. I know that there are a lot of you out there who think that the things that we're getting are worth your money, and that's fine. This is all personal opinion. But my opinion is that if you want me to spend, you know, $40, $50, $60 over the course of a year in microtransactions, then A, I expect the microtransactions to, you know, be affordable. Like I would be perfectly willing to spend, you know, $3 or $4 on, you know, really nice stuff, maybe 99 cents on some of these paint jobs. I'd have a lot more paint jobs if I could purchase more paint jobs than just one for $5. I'm sorry, I can't see that. And then all of this money that we're giving you for these cosmetics, which is ostensibly supposed to be going towards you guys developing reasonable, meaningful gameplay updates, you know, I expect to get something back out of that. People want to talk about how, oh, it's all free to play. And it's like, no, that comes from people spending microtransactions to continue funding the game developers. And there's an unspoken contract that comes with that. It means you're going to put time and effort, you know, all this money that we're giving you for these microtransactions, you're supposed to be putting that into development. And the development that I've seen based off of the money that they're charging for the transactions that they're doing in their ARC store tells me that they're taking a lot of that money and just putting it in the bank. And they're not spending it and actually putting people to work, giving us really meaningful updates. So the issue that I have here, and the reason why I started talking about something like a battle pass, which I, you know, had a couple of people say a battle pass is the worst thing that happened in video games. And it's like, it can be the worst thing that happened in video games. It can also be the best thing that happens to a video game if it's done right. Because I'm sorry, Fortnite had a really great business model, and they've survived this long for a reason. Because yes, they ask you for money, but then they give you a lot of content in return. They give you a lot of content in return. It's the same reason why people go to Costco, because you want to get the best bang for your buck. It's not just about supporting the developers, and obviously, you know, I would love to support the developers if their mentality was better, but even the best developers, you know, I only want to support them if they're going to give me something that's worth the money I'm parting with to get what they're providing. And this is the lesson I'm trying to get across to viewers. Now, if you're an Elite Dangerous fanboy and I'm saying things negative about your game, you're not going to hear anything that I have to say, and you're just going to whine and argue with me about what I'm talking about. But I'm sorry, for the rest of you, I think you can kind of see that I am making a real point here. It's fine for developers to charge money for their products. It's expected. It's required. Like I know I said it's fine. They have to charge money for these things. They have to make money. Everybody has to make money. Everybody has to earn a living, and that's totally reasonable. But at the same time, the expectation is that if I give you money, the trade is that you give me something of real value in return. And that means, in this case, entertainment. That means, in this case, I feel like I'm getting something for the money that I'm giving you. And if I'm spending, you know, $15 to get early access to a ship that other people are going to get later for free, right? The expectation is not that I'm getting exclusive access to a ship. It's that I'm giving you this money because A, I want early access to this ship because I think it's cool and I want to fly it early and I don't want to have to wait 3 months for it. But on the other side of that, the real reason that you're paying for early access for these ships and the real reason why they're offering early access to these ships is because they need money so that they can develop the game. Yeah, pay their employees, make some profit, but you still need to develop the game. If you want me to pay for early access to your ships, I'm perfectly willing to do that. But I expect to get something in return later on down the line that actually satisfies my need for entertainment in the game. And my issue is that they continue doing these little softball bullshit things that don't provide any real entertainment value. Are you really still working on your power play? Are you really still focused on that? Is that something you're continuing to work on? That you care about? For those of you doing colonization, I mean, are you really having fun doing that, or has it become a chore because it's the same repetitive bullshit over and over and over again? We're not getting any new content that innovates on anything in the game, that provides any real meaningful thing that provides you with many hours of entertainment. It's just easy softball background bullshit that they're doing the minimal amount of effort to get done to spend the least amount of money so that they can take the money that you're giving them with the intuitive expectation that they're going to put that into game development of real shit, and they're just putting out a bunch of dog shit expecting you to just take it. Okay? And me pointing that out is not telling you that we need to, the whole gamer thing that happened in Europe where they're talking about wanting to force developers to do this and force developers to do that. I don't believe that that's ethically sound. A developer should be able to do whatever the hell they want. If they want to offer the game in a certain way, they should be able to offer the game in a certain way. My advice to you as a viewer is vote with your wallet. Okay? The only way that these companies are going to change their practices is if you stop buying their shit. You stop buying their shit and they have two choices. They can either actually start putting meaningful effort into the game or they shut it down. And I'm sorry, in this case, if this is the direction that they're going to continue going, then, you know, if they're stuck on we're not going to put any real effort in the game, then they just need to shut it down. They just need to shut the game down and be done with it. Let it die and just move on. Because what they're doing right now is just preying on your fear of the game going away and the hope that, you know, it can be better at some point. And it's just I don't see it going in that direction. And I haven't seen it going in that direction ever since they started doing this new update stuff. And I'm sorry, that's just the way I see it. So that's what I wanted to say. You know, you have to do a price to benefit analysis. And I just don't see it as being anywhere close to worth it for what you get out of it. And that's just what it is. And that's why I continue to say the things I continue to say. Because, you know, I want a good value for the money I'm giving the developers. And they just don't seem to want to give it to us. And that's how I see it. So thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. If you would like to contribute to the channel because you feel like you're getting some kind of meaningful content out of what I'm providing you, I do have PayPal and Patreon links in the video description, as well as that thanks button just below the video itself. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.